anyone tell you that the problem with you is your problems aren't big enough. And I have had people tell me that before, and I've heard that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? That hurt. But the reality is, if you really think about it and you really spend time sitting with that, it's true. So it's really important. It's all about perspective, right? It's not meant to be hurtful. It's just meant to help you realize the perspective of things. And sometimes we get wrapped up in the littlest things and it seems like a big deal at the time. But in the grand scheme of life, in the grand scheme of what we're dealing with overall, in the big picture, most things are really not as big of a deal as we give them in our life. We give them too much space, too much energy, too much talk time, too many words, too many, you know what I mean? If we reserve that focus and energy for really big, important stuff, like focusing one step at a time and keeping our nervous system in check and balanced and nourished, and the pause in between, that takes energy too. If we're too exhausted and we're too worn out, we're not filling our cup and we're not taking care of ourselves and we're not giving ourselves the moments we need to refuel, then everything triggers us. It's like we don't have the energy left to stop and pause and think. But we owe it to ourselves and everyone around us to really do that, because in the grand scheme, the things we make a big deal out of are not as big of a deal as we may think. And looking back on them like 2 weeks later, a month later, a day later, 5 minutes later, it's usually like, oh my gosh, I was silly. What was I thinking? Because we've taken a pause. We've gained perspective. We've given our body a chance to rest or to find peace with things. So I want to encourage you today, take time this week and notice, pause, breathe, give yourself time to refuel, and realize that in the moment it feels ugly, awful, weird, hurtful, whatever the emotion is, it doesn't sit well. And you can feel the emotion, but find the pause, breathe, and tell yourself, hey, how am I going to choose to react? Because in the grand scheme, this is probably not as big of a deal as I think it is right now. And it doesn't mean it's not important. And it doesn't mean that your opinion and feelings don't count. It just means that where are we going to put our energy? We get to choose. So I'm encouraging you to think about that today.